Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Pittsburgh Current Podcast. I'm editor and publisher Charlie Deitch, and whenever I say special, I feel like it's Blossom or the Brady Bunch or something like that. But we're coming to you today because we have a very special guest, Tony T-Robe Roberson, who is headlining this weekend at the Improv. We tried to get it together earlier in the week. It didn't work out, but it's kind of a big deal for you this weekend at the Improv, so we wanted to have you, and thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to the whole weekend. It is a big deal. It's like my third time headlining the Pittsburgh Improv.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, man. I got some new material tonight, and we got 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow, and 1 on Sunday. So
what's your process like for coming up with new material? I guess you're always probably observing, right?
You constantly observe. So like in my phone, the way I started doing it probably about 8 years ago is in my phone. You get like the notes on the iPhone. Yeah. So if I see something that's funny or crazy, I type it in.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I'll go home and I'll jot it down, or I'll look at it, and then it may not be funny right away.
Yeah.
But then you just keep adding to it, and then eventually you start to create a joke.
Yeah.
I take it on stage, I say it, and it may not go over, it may go over, but eventually you start to build on it. So that's my process of writing.
So if you use it up on stage the first time, I guess it's not like a one and done. If people don't laugh, you try and take it back and
I'm not afraid of the crowd.
Retune it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I retune it. I always, you're always looking to add to a joke, and sometimes I take jokes that were older, like from a couple years ago, and I revisit them and I add to it. I expand it.
Yeah.
So you can like remix anything, what I mean? So I try to remix my own jokes.
Yeah, and you've been doing this a long time, right? 18 years.
18 years, yeah.
And so I would think like you have an adult son and you have a 6-year-old.
That is true.
Right. So that's you got that kid material.
Yeah, my son's 22, my daughter's 6. It's, one of those things I always tell people, like, child support's ridiculous. I had to pay one off to have another one. That's all I was,
It's like a new car.
Yeah, exactly. It's so crazy. And it's wild because my son's 22, he's fully grown, lives in Atlanta. I started all over again. I have a 6-year-old, and it's one of those things where I'm I don't know if I made a dumb decision, but because I love my daughter with all my heart.
Sure.
But it's just I feel like I'm going to be like 60 years old going to a PTA meeting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
yeah, my older brother's in a similar. His daughter's now 11, but he was in a similar situation. 2 grown kids.
Yeah,
has a new baby. What is it? Did you have to kind of resharpen your parenting chops? Or are you a little more lenient this time around?
I think I'm a lot more lenient.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know if that's because I'm lazy and I just don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, she is 6 and she has the energy of a cokehead. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous how much energy this little kid has. But she's keeping me young. She keeps me on my toes. And but it's also the most fulfilling thing,
right?
Having a little girl,
right?
And it's different having a little girl than a little boy. I don't care what anyone says. Like, I nurture her, and I'm a little more caring with her than I was with my son. My son kind of like get out of here,
right?
But with her, I'm like, I'm wearing makeup, and I got barrettes in my hair and whatnot. So yeah.
Do you think you're gonna be a crazy dad when it comes time to start dating?
I think so. I mean, and I know that's probably not the right way to do it because you can kind of push them into
right.
I don't want to being a stripper on a pole or nothing. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like one of those things where you got to kind of watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I know this: whoever she does bring to the house, I definitely intend to put a little scare, a little fear in them. You know what I mean? She's really cute kid, and she's beautiful, and she always, all these little, boys in her school now are always like, they're drawn to her.
Yeah.
Because she has a personality similar to mine.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I'm just like, I got my eye on you. I know you're 6, but I'm watching you.
She's gonna be trouble, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Speaking of, I don't know. I heard this at some point. And you opened for Charlie Murphy several times.
Yes.
You were close to Charlie Murphy.
Yes, very close with him. Yeah.
So a couple things I want to talk about. It's just so happens I'm going to bounce a theory off you that other people have said that I'm crazy, but since you're a comedian, I've always thought, pound for pound, that Charlie was funnier than Eddie. I know Eddie had those great specials, and Eddie's a great comedic actor.
Yeah.
But there was just something about Charlie, like when he kind of came on when he sort of really became exposed on this Chappelle show.
I think the thing about Charlie, that makes him so great. I don't know about. Okay, so when you're looking at comedians and you're looking at as far as like riffing and the material that they can come up with and how they portray that to you on stage.
Yeah.
It's a thing like this, like whereas Eddie was punchy, but Charlie would tell these stories.
Yeah.
And I think the stories he was telling, it actually happened.
Right.
I don't think he was embellishing anything.
Right.
And it was just that he was a part of something, in his growing up.
Yeah.
And being and having a famous brother like Eddie, that he got to see things that you or I couldn't.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and when he's seeing things like, something as simple as Rick James putting his feet on the couch,
right. Yeah.
Things like that. I mean, that's something he actually witnessed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't think so pound for pound, I don't know about that. I can say this. The way he tells a story makes him great to me.
Yeah, because and I do feel like he was probably more of a storyteller type comedian than Eddie.
Yeah.
And there were, I think, like when I think back to Eddie Murphy's Raw, and there's the there are a couple of sort of longer storytelling parts in there, and I think that if you compare that against some of Charlie's storytelling stuff, I think Charlie
nudges him out on that. I'll give you that. Yeah, for sure. As far as like a showman.
Yeah, that's tough.
I just think Eddie Murphy might get him as far as a showman. And, Eddie Murphy is, he's so classic. I just, it's one of those things that there's rumors of him coming back.
Yeah.
And, I'm excited, as a comedian now and fan before to see that. And supposedly Netflix is working on a deal with him.
That's what I heard, and that would be great to see Eddie back in a leather suit up there.
Yeah, I know, right?
Cutting up, right? Yeah, and we're of that age that that was like Delirious was like seeing Delirious on HBO was like probably a highlight for you too, right?
That was.
Yeah.
It was one of the reasons why I actually started doing comedy, between that and Raw. Those. Yeah. That big, and then Richard Pryor, obviously.
Yeah.
And then so coming up, when I was really, really young, Martin Lawrence was a guy that I looked up to, and because he was, the host of Def Comedy Jam, and that was like the big thing, when I was coming up, but those two, Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor,
right?
That goes without saying. You can ask anybody, like 90% of people, like, who's your favorite comedian? Oh, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
But then I dig deeper. I like George Carlin. I like Red Fox.
John Witherspoon you opened for, right?
Yes.
When John Witherspoon used to, I saw John Witherspoon in Vegas once, and he's great. He's so funny.
He's phenomenal.
People know him from that scene in Boomerang, but he's just such a
good guy, man. He actually gave me a shout out, and he's like, hey man, you guys support T-Robe. He's funny, So he's a good dude. So and then you got other people too who I've worked with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle, to me, is a comedic genius.
Yeah.
Some people may not think so, but I do.
Yeah.
And the only reason I can say that is because I've had conversation in between shows.
Yeah.
So we might do 2 shows in a night, and I go and I open for him. I do about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. He goes on and does an hour. Then we go downstairs. They clear the room and let other people come in. And as they're doing that, we're downstairs. We're talking. Maybe we might smoke a joint. I don't know. We're just down there kicking it. And we'll have a conversation, just like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Somehow he takes that and puts it on stage comedically.
Wow.
That's why I see he's a comedic genius. To me, I have to write and process it, and and then I'm like, okay, I can now it's stage ready.
He can come up on the fly.
On the fly.
Yeah.
That's all good. And he's so comfortable doing it. I don't take risk like that.
Yeah. What do you do when you're in that? I mean, you've had great opportunities to sit with some really great comedians. Mm-hmm. So, and like you said, in between shows, you're chatting after shows, and you're going to see them 3 nights in a row usually. Are you purposefully picking their brain about comedy, or are you just having conversations?
No, I'm doing it, but I'm doing it strategically where it doesn't seem interview-ish.
Right.
It just seems like casual conversation. Like, hey, man, what do you think about this? Or if I were to make this move in my career, how would it, what would be the outcome? Yeah. So it would be, it's more just, casual conversation.
Yeah.
As opposed to me saying, hey, can I ask you, a few questions?
Right.
Because sometimes then people don't think you're genuine. They have a tendency to kind of shy away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they want to know that you're a regular person. Not just somebody looking for some free advice.
Exactly. So, you got to be careful how you do that, how you pick their brains. Yeah. And I get it comedically. Like, I get some of these younger guys coming to me and they're asking me questions. I'm like, what is it you really want to know? Like, I'll just give it to you.
Right.
You don't got to
beat around the bush.
Yeah, just tell me what you want to know.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you,
When did you what got you on stage the first time? And was it something that you always wanted to do, or
It's something that I thought about.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it for a long time, and then I was living in Philadelphia at the time.
Yeah.
I was working for U.S. Airways. I was a flight attendant.
Okay.
Which is the craziest.
Yeah, let's get
job.
back to that in a second.
But
right.
did you knew about that?
I knew about that,
Yeah.
but yeah, I knew you did it. I don't know, but I'd love to actually talk about because people
Yeah.
are fucking crazy,
Yes. Yeah,
especially on
yeah.
an airplane.
Yeah, oh, dude, I have a story. I told it on air the other
Yeah,
day.
go ahead.
I can tell you about it right now. So
Yeah.
this is the moment I knew I was going to become a comedian.
Right.
So I'm sitting I'm on a flight. I'm working the flight, and if you will, if you look at the seating chart on the plane, it goes A B C D E F. The aisles in the middle. This guy was in 17C. This guy was being a jerk. Can I swear?
Absolutely.
All right, so this guy's being an asshole, right? So
Right.
like legit, like I remember as I'm serving, I'm coming down the aisle, and he's just creating a commotion around him.
Yeah.
So everybody around him is getting pissed,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get to the guy, and so I piss him off on purpose. I don't
Yeah.
go to the right. I go to the left first.
Right.
I serve this side. Then I go to this side, and I go to the lady in B.
Yeah.
He's losing his shit right now. You know what I mean? So
Right.
then I go to the guy in A.
Right.
Because as a flight attendant, you're supposed to serve window to aisle ladies first.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then I get to him. I lay his beverage napkin down. He unfolds the beverage napkin. So the beverage napkin is like one square, but
Right.
when you unfold it, it's four.
Right.
I give him his peanuts. And I said, what do you want to drink? He goes, give me a Bloody Mary, and what are we having to eat? I said, well, there's a flight from Philly to Miami. There's
Right.
no food. It's a quick
Right.
flight. It's like 2 hours. There's no food.
Right.
He goes, this is bullshit. I said, okay, well, I get it. You're pissed. And I said, there's no food.
Yeah.
And I said, I can give you another pack of peanuts.
Right.
He goes, I don't want another pack of peanuts.
Yeah.
So he's ripping up the first pack of peanuts. He lays them out on a napkin and starts counting them. As I'm making this drink, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Right.
So he's counting the peanuts. And I set his drink down. I'm like, it's $5 for the drink. He goes, $5 for the drink, $500 for the flight, 10 fucking peanuts. What am I supposed to do with this? I picked up a peanut. I ate it. I said, I'm sorry. You're only supposed to get 9. And that might have been the moment right then and there where I because everybody around him started clapping and laughing. He turned bright red. He told my supervisor, now as a flight attendant, you never get to see your supervisor at all. So he told me, I guess he wrote a letter to U.S. Airways. It got to my supervisor. Supervisor calls me in. I need you to come in before you go on your next trip.
Right.
I come in. I'm like, fuck, I'm in trouble. This guy thanked me. And
Really?
Yeah, he was like, this is a classic story. He's like, I want you to tell me in person what happened. So I told him what it was. And literally, he's like, oh, man, that's so hilarious. I mean, like, he loved it. You know what I mean? So that was the moment when I realized that, like maybe comedy is for me because the gratification I got from that.
Right.
After I I ate his peanut and I just walked
the laughter
off.
was probably like
it was the plane erupted.
Yeah.
I didn't even charge her for the drink.
Right.
I walked off because it was so good. So I went to a place called the Laugh House. It's in Philadelphia on South Street. It's no longer open. It's closed. And that's where I started my career at in 2001. And I went there and I went as a patron just to watch.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I'm watching. I was on a date with this girl. I was watching so good. I mean, I literally was like into it that I wasn't laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy Davidson was on.
Yeah.
He was performing then.
Yeah.
So I watched and I'm literally like, I'm looking at it. And he looks at me, he goes, hey, you ain't laughing at my shit. What the fuck's wrong with you? I said, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm an aspiring comedian. And, I didn't mean anything by it. He goes, oh, you're a comedian. I said, no, aspiring. Like, I've never done this.
Yeah.
He's like, get up here. I'm going to help you.
Wow.
And you know how the crowd starts going, egging me on. I get on stage reluctantly, and he goes, you know your mama jokes. And I said, well, yeah, who doesn't know your mama jokes, whatever. So he goes, I'm going to start you off in this comedy game. He says, I'm going to tell a joke, and I'm going to give you the mic, and you tell a joke.
Right.
So he does one, I don't know, something stupid like your mom's so fat she jumped in the air and got stuck. And
Right, yeah.
gives me the mic, and I'm like, your mom's house so small. I walked in the front door, I was in the backyard. So we started going back and forth.
Right.
Well, I ran out of your mama jokes, right?
Yeah.
He hit me with 8 in a row.
Wow.
So the type of person I am, like when I'm defeated or I feel like I got to come out swinging.
Yeah.
The whole time he kept trying to hand me the mic back, I had nothing. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking. And as he's nailing me, and people were laughing and dying, like he's killing me.
Yeah.
Finally, he hands me the mic, and I grabbed it. He goes, oh, he grabbed it, and everyone's all fired up. And he goes, go ahead, your turn. What do you got to say? I was like, your mom's pussy so dirty. If I put a Q-tip in it, I pull it out and look like a sugar daddy. I said that, and a crowd went nuts.
Wow.
That moment right there,
Yeah.
for me was like that was like such self-gratification.
Yeah.
Like, and so afterwards, after the show was over, he was like, "Get off my stage!" You know, everyone's laughing.
Yeah.
I sat down and I enjoyed the rest of the show. After the show, the manager of the club comes up. He goes, "You're a comedian for real?" He goes, "That looked really planned." I said, "No." I said, "That's just who I am." Like,
Right.
He goes, "Here's my card. You come down and do open mic."
Wow.
I went down and did the open mic. I killed it. I went down the next week to do open mic and got booed.
Wow.
Got booed off stage.
What was the difference?
Cockiness, because I was
Really?
like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I got really cocky, and that's something that a comic should never. Like, I'm scared shitless about tonight. I got a bunch of new material tonight. And,
Really?
Yeah, and I'm nervous about it. But as a comic, you should never ever go in cocky.
Right.
You also always have a little bit of butterflies, a little bit of nerves, a little bit of anxiety, and I have that right now. Like I have, like I'm leaving here, I'm going to get my hair cut, then I'm going home, I'm taking a nap.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to like forget about tonight, and then I'm going to wake up, take a shower, and go over my notes, and then it's go time.
Wow.
You know, so.
How long have you been working on the act you're going to do tonight? How long have you been preparing
About
the material?
6 months.
Wow. So
6
you
months.
write and then you take it out like do you take it out as like a finished act and try it out, or
No,
you try in bits and pieces here and there?
Bits
or?
and pieces here and there. I
Yeah.
sandwich it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to ever go on and look like a complete idiot.
Right.
So what I do is I take a bit that I know is going to work,
Mm-hmm.
and take another bit I know is going to work, and I put the new bit in the middle of the
Yeah.
two. So I do that. That way, if it bombs, I know I can pull them back with the stronger bit on the back end.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how that
interesting.
works. Yeah, man.
So that's Tommy Davidson's story. I love Tommy Davidson. Again,
He's phenomenal.
grew up in
Yeah.
the In Living Color days,
Yeah.
and then Tommy Davidson's DC special again is one of my favorite. Again, very underrated. I think. Like I
Yeah.
don't think many people think about that special.
Yeah.
But that Tommy Davidson DC special was incredible.
Yeah, he's a hell of a comedian, man.
Yeah.
And he's giving me like shout outs and, you know, T getting a lot of advice. You know, we're sitting backstage
Yeah.
again, you know, just telling me, you know, what he thinks I should do to get to the next level. And everyone's like on this internet thing now. It's like a social media.
Yeah.
I grew up in the era of no social media.
Right.
And now that's a thing. Like I'm being told I need to post every day, twice a day, and you know, tell people, oh, I'm eating this, and I'm taking a shit now. Like,
Right.
I just
Right.
don't. I'm not that guy. Like
Yeah.
I post when I feel I have something that's good
Right.
to post. Like last night, I had on a suit. I felt myself. I was looking good. I had on nice shoes and everything. Put that shit on there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I'm like, I post when I have something legitimate to post.
Right.
I'm not just posting just,
Yeah.
hey man, I'm breathing, so you guys
Right.
know I'm breathing.
And
You
there's
know what I mean? Like, it's-
that's what a lot of people do. It's like, you know, I don't care what you have for breakfast. I don't
Yeah.
care, you know, what your cat's doing.
No.
I don't care.
So,
you
but
know?
then I'm being told by these, like, you know, these people who are social media hounds. They're
Right.
like, that's what they want to do. They want to see your life. I'm like, well, you know, parts of my life I kind of want to keep to myself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's just how I feel about it. And I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to share it, it becomes a bit and you take it on stage, right?
Exactly. So, and then you get these guys who now, and I'm not even knocking them, but there's like these these Instagram comedians. They're
Yeah.
famous for skits they do on Instagram.
Right.
Now they're putting them on stage because they've got millions of followers.
Yeah.
The problem with that is they don't have the time or the actual. They haven't perfected the craft of stand-up.
Right.
So when you don't have that behind you,
Yeah.
you're gonna go on because you can put asses in the seats that first time. What happens when you bomb or it's a shitty show,
Right.
and then you can't bring people back again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's and you got to look at that too. So I feel like as long as I stay true to my craft and I keep pounding
Yeah.
away at it, eventually it'll break open for me.
Competition comes from, because you're no longer, when you started out, you were obviously competing for time with other Pittsburgh comedians.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it's so easy to see somebody in Oklahoma. Maybe
Yeah.
there's one funny guy in Oklahoma. People
Yeah.
see him and now all of a sudden he's coming in and taking local gigs.
Yeah.
How has that changed comedy?
Well, you know what? The way that I see it, you got guys doing that from Oklahoma. I'm looking at Oklahoma. I want to go to.
Oh,
their
yeah,
place. So I mean, I do about 25
Right.
cities a year. So you try and once you do get an opportunity. I just came from Naples, Florida. When you get an opportunity to perform there, like you want to impress the club, and you want to get in good and create a fan base
Right.
there.
Right.
So what I do is I start following people on Instagram, making them follow me back.
Yeah.
Or I'll put cards on the table. Give me your email address. I'll email you, let you know when I'm going to be back in your city again.
Yeah.
So you start creating a fan base in other cities, and that's just how you got to do. You got to start building. You know, it's a job.
Yeah.
It ain't just what you see on stage. It's
right.
a lot of shit behind the scenes.
And a lot. I guess. You do a lot of this. You may have, a booking agent or something like that. But this is you, right? You do all that work yourself. You do all the promotion, all
the promotion, everything. I do it all myself. I do have an agent.
Yeah.
And I do have a manager. But for the most part, it's me going to get it.
Yeah.
No one's going to give it to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just anything in life. No one's just giving you shit. No one's like out here just giving shit away. You know what I mean? Like, hey, because I'd be the first one in line. You got some free shit? I want it. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't care what it is.
Yeah, it's free. I want it. You know what I mean? So you just got to go get it, man. And that's how I feel about comedy. Like I'm self-made when it comes to comedy. Like, of course, I've had help along the way. Like people like Chappelle, I've done at least 25 shows with him.
Wow.
Gary Owen has taken me on tour for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Cheryl Underwood, I went on tour with her.
Yeah.
So people do take you under their wing and show you love. So it isn't all by myself, but to even get myself in the door for those people to even show me enough love and be like, hey, I got some more gigs for you. You have to be able to prove yourself to get to that point, and then they say, come with me. I got some gigs for you.
Yeah, that's great, and it's obvious. It's nice when you've got a comedian coming into Pittsburgh and they call you up and say, hey, open for me. But now when they're about to do 5 cities and they say, hey, why don't you come and open for me on the road?
There's nothing. That's the best feeling because as a comedian, sometimes you don't even know when your next gig is coming.
Yeah,
like it's highs and lows with this game. And you just want to keep having consistent work.
Yeah.
So
you still experience that? Do you still have like highs and lows? Or are you pretty steady now, right?
Now I'm steady now. This is my thing now, and I'm pretty steady. But there was that time, 5 years ago where I wasn't. You know what I mean? So I'm fortunate right now. Like I'm one of the lucky ones. Like it's only me and maybe like 2 or 3 others in Pittsburgh that do it for a living.
Right.
Like most comedians have a day job. You know. What I mean? So I'm fortunate enough where I don't have to do that, and I'm getting enough work now where I make a decent living for myself, but I still ain't famous.
Yeah, right.
So that's the name of my show this week.
Right, yeah, right. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, still ain't famous. Yeah. So, I'm known locally. Yeah. But not globally.
Right. And that's like, there are guys like Ari Spears kind of has that. He's a talented comedian, but he plays clubs, he does some theaters, but it's still a guy that you would think could probably work in TV and movies and like that, and it's just sort of
it's a weird thing, man. Comedy's it's a tough gig, man. It is. It's not. We make it look easy on stage,
right?
But literally like behind the scenes, and when you're grinding and scratching and clawing, trying to get gigs and get booked, and that shit's difficult, man.
Is it hard to being a black comedian?
It is.
Pittsburgh. I'm in Pittsburgh. I just assumed the answer was yes.
Well,
but in general,
I'll be honest. This is my honest to God feeling on that. So, and this is not a knock on anything or anybody. This is just the truth in my gut. Terry Jones, another comedian, he's a good friend of mine. He comes to my house. We write together. We hang out together. We, our families hang out. He and I were talking, and I've won second place and best local comedian like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I won third place 1 time. I don't even vote. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I don't even nominate myself.
Right.
I don't know who's nominating.
Right.
But I know this. There's other comedians that have won first place 2, 3, 4 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they ain't that fucking good.
Right. And they also aren't working. They aren't working every week either. And
they're not working like I'm working. And if you really want to, get into the nitty gritty, I never even said this. This was said to me by another comedian. I'm the most decorated comedian in Pittsburgh, meaning I've opened for Chappelle, Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, all these. Yeah. There's nobody I haven't opened up for.
Yeah.
And that's doing something. That's big. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, like, and then not only that, I've created my own lane. Like, even when comedy slowed up for me, I went to Burn and got a room and made my own room.
Yeah.
And then, and I still run the Pittsburgh Improv. I do all the open mics there once a month. I run the competition, which is twice a month.
Right.
So I do a lot for the culture. I help younger comedians. Why is it that there's a few of us that are funny black comedians in Pittsburgh. None of us have won, and I'm not just tooting my own horn. Yeah. None of us have won first place or placed.
Right.
I'm the only one that's placed. no one else is really placed.
Yeah, and there are a few publications that do these things, and as someone on the inside of who used to be on the inside of when I worked somewhere else that I won't mention, you would see, like, I would see comedians' names pop up, and we would have to check them to make sure that they were actually comedians.
A comedian.
And it's because they're out there working for it. They're out there.
Yeah.
Getting people to vote for them, and they make it their goal for however long, and I respect the fact that, and the idea is it's supposed to be, like that situation. It's somebody who has seen you and thinks you're funny, and they say, you know what, I'm going to vote for.
I'm going to vote for T-Robe.
Yeah.
I've never ever nominated myself.
Yeah.
I've never voted for myself. I'm a person. I'm like, I'll keep putting the work in. And it's nice to be noticed. And when I did get second place, I was happy. You don't get shit for it. It's just you're known. People are like, "Oh, you got second place."
Put that on the bill, right?
Yeah. So it's a thing, man. There's other comedians who, again, I got 18 years. There's other comedians who've been doing it half the time I've done it, and have gotten more.
Right.
They've gotten positions or offered to travel, or the Improv me have backed them a little more than me at the time.
Right.
But now I'm undeniable at this point.
Yeah.
It's hard to be like, T-Robe, we can't give you an opportunity.
Right.
So I've just put in too much work, and if you really want to put the nitty gritty, I've brought in more revenue.
Yeah.
For that club, for my home club, than any other comic has. I've also been there the longest too.
Yeah.
So
is there a bit of I hate to use the word segregation in comedy, but you talk about the folks that you open up for, and they're mainly black comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Is there sort of like, and again, I don't know what you'd call it, but is there sort of like,
you get typecasted,
the black comedy scene and the white comedy scene?
Yeah, you get typecasted. Where they say, such and such is coming. Do you want to open for them? I don't open anymore.
Yeah.
So like in the last 2 years, I haven't opened for anybody at the Pittsburgh Improv.
Right.
Just because I gave myself that promotion.
Yeah.
Done opening.
Right.
I'm the shit now.
Right.
Either you hire me to be the shit.
Right.
Or you don't fuck with me.
Right.
Period. So you do get into that. It's funny because some black comedians, when they do make it, they want white guys to open for them, and I get why, because they're not crossing paths and the material.
Yeah.
So like if a white guy, like, you look at life completely different than I look at life.
Sure.
And because you're white and because I'm black, so I look at shit different than you do.
Right.
And so on stage, it's the same way. You're not telling the same stories and jokes that I'm telling. Most black people experience the same shit, so that you kind of have a tendency to cross paths with the material.
Gotcha.
So you do get that, and then I have had my stint of opening for white comedians. Like I've opened for Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah.
I've opened for Gilbert Gottfried.
Let me get your impression of those two guys, because Sebastian, I actually just in the last year or so became aware of Sebastian, and then Gilbert Godfrey. Growing up, again, it's a guy who was sort of that you saw everywhere, did everything. What's he like?
Gilbert doesn't even sound like that in person. Number one, and number two, the thing that I was the most surprised about with him was he doesn't have the time. He doesn't have an hour.
Really?
He only had about 35 minutes. So when I opened for him, I was asked to do a longer set.
Wow.
To compensate. The show's supposed to be 90 minutes.
Right.
I was asked to do a longer set to compensate for his shortcomings.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I was just surprised that he didn't have the length of time I thought a comedian of his tenure would have.
Yeah, I feel like he's better. He's a better like talk show comedian.
Yeah,
like that. Because you can work him in and out of different things.
Yeah.
But again, it's just one of those comedians that's kind of synonymous with that time of growing up in the 80s and so forth. Moving away from comedy a little bit, let's talk about. I wanted to ask you. We were talking a little bit about sports before we came on. Kind of sucks to be a Pittsburgh sports fan right now.
Oh,
right?
my God. Pirates suck. Steelers suck. Everybody sucks, man. It's terrible because, we're so used to winning.
Right. Yeah.
That when you have a bad year, who didn't see this coming? All three Bs are no more. Like, Ben's hurt. I don't know what happened to his elbow. Like, who the fuck hit you? Where did you get hit at? And then, Bell and Brown being gone. That hurt, man. That took the wind out. And then, it's one of those things. I I don't think that we have the amount of talent that we had, but the amount of talent that we had, a couple years ago versus now, it's night and day on the teams.
Yeah. What do you make of the whole Antonio Brown situation?
I don't know if it's CTE. I don't know if he's
Right.
I don't know if he's remedial. I don't know what the hell's
Right.
going on. I mean, the
Right.
guy's clearly there's something not right.
Right.
See, it was crazy because when he wanted out of here, I'm like, why does he want out of here so bad? Like, you have this team,
Yeah.
Then he wanted out. I'm like, he's crazy. Then he went to the Raiders, and I'm like, you went to a shitty team, dude. Like, you wanted
Right.
out of here
Yeah.
to go to a worse team. But then when he pulled the whole thing with New England, I'm like, I was pissed because New England, we have a hard time playing, beating New England anyways.
Right.
But I was like, this guy's a fucking genius.
Right.
I thought he planned that
Right.
on purpose. And then he gets New England, and then he got cut, and I found myself smiling when he got released because I'm like, I feel like you just went to New England because you wanted a Super Bowl.
Right.
And that to me, I can't stand that type of shit. Like
Yeah.
instead of putting in the work with the team that you are on,
Yeah.
you're like, let me take the easy way out, and I know they're gonna go, especially
Right.
with me. And then
Yeah.
when they cut him, I was like, you're not getting your Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
And it's a guy too that like obviously it's hard to to really fuck with Brady and Belichick, but it's because Belichick can coach anybody, he can do anything.
Yeah.
But, he never crossed the likes of Antonio Brown. I'm sure.
No, that guy is just then he tweeted today. I think it was today, I think it was today. He tweeted that he wants to. He goes, why wouldn't I play? I'm the best still.
After he said he's never going to play.
After he said he's never going to play again. So this guy's like, I don't know if it's CTE. He's fucking. I don't know. Bipolar. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's all over the place.
Yeah. It's definitely a weird scene.
Yeah.
Are you a hockey fan at all?
You know what?
I'll go on the limb first. I'm not a hockey fan.
I'm not a hockey fan.
I never understood
but I'll go to a game.
Yeah.
I'll go to a game and I'll be in there. I'll play the 50-50.
Right.
I'll eat fucking food and I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
we score. I
yeah.
stand up and
Yeah.
I'm like a Pittsburgh proud, but I truly I don't know. Somebody said something about a hat trick. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Right.
I just don't know what that shit is.
Yeah.
Just because growing up, there was no black guys in hockey, so
Right.
I couldn't identify.
Yeah, who you gonna
but now
follow?
there's black guys in
Yeah.
hockey, and I'm like, well, shit. Maybe I should start fucking paying attention.
Right.
You
Get
know
a pair
what I
of skates.
I'm like Googling hat trick.
learning to skate,
Yeah.
getting out on the ice.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So, I mean, it's one of those things. I think it's more of a Pittsburgh pride thing
Yeah.
for me because we won the Stanley Cup, and
Yeah.
so
I go to the parade
a few
I just
times.
don't
Yeah,
go- I
yeah.
don't go to the
So
game.
I'm all about the party aspect of
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Pittsburgh. You
Yeah.
know, so that's it. I'm not a big hockey fan though. So
Yeah, no, I want to be because it looks like everybody's having a great time.
yeah,
It's
they do.
just,
Yeah.
Yeah, for a business thing, I went to a luxury box. I think the year they won the cup, last time they won the cup, and it was they closed out. They beat Columbus to close out whatever series that was, and I had to go for my job, and I'm literally sitting there pissed off because I'm sitting at a hockey game.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, anybody else would have been like, "Oh, you got great seats," and So what about? Do you think we're ever going to be a baseball town again, or do you think it's dead?
Man,
That's kind of over?
I hate it.
I love the game.
No, I think it's so far gone now.
Yeah.
Especially after that relief pitcher and that. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
fucking- that shit. The fuck. What was that?
Right. That's just and it figures like it's gonna be somebody who's on a team that's fucked up 6 ways from Sunday anyway.
Yeah.
And now, here you go. Here's something you weren't expecting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That curveball. I mean, I just think we're all downhill, man. Like we're gonna have to sink some good money into some players. And,
Yeah.
and it seems like everybody that we had that was any good, we let go.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I mean they'll just continue having their 2,000 fans, and I guess he's okay with doing that. And,
Yeah. Thank you, revenue sharing.
Yeah.
He gets his money. We don't get shit.
Exactly.
You're listening to the Pittsburgh Current, a very special Pittsburgh Current podcast. I am Charlie Deitch, and we are here with Tony T-Robe Roberson. He is headlining this weekend at the Pittsburgh Improv and at the Waterfront. 7:30, 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow, 1 on Sunday.
Exactly.
And again, you've got mostly new material coming out.
Yes, I do.
Right.
Yeah.
So just as we're closing out here, one thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is how you handle a crowd, because you're very interactive. It's like you said with
Yeah.
Tommy Davis and pulled you up on stage.
Yeah.
When did you start that? I mean, you don't wait for them to attack. You go right
I
at them.
get them first.
Yeah.
And I'm very aggressive about it too.
Yeah.
It's weird because, I learned because, as a kid growing up in Aliquippa, you just rip on each other all day long. So I got that in me anyways.
Right.
So, we just, sit and talk shit on each other. And literally, like, I remember as a kid growing up, losing battles like that to my cousins. And it always just made me stronger, a stronger ripper. So now when I attack, I kind of take the wind out of the crowd because you always got that one jerk who's like, I got one for him. But I welcome that because I have like 4 coming back at you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
it's kind of like prison. You take the biggest guy and kick his ass immediately.
And right away.
And
you just take that out of the take that out of the equation, and that's it, man. So I've always been an interactive comedian.
Yeah.
I think that's some of my funniest shit, actually.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Have you ever seen me before? You ever seen me before?
I can't remember. I think I saw you open for somebody. I can't remember who it was.
Everybody in Pittsburgh. But it's one of those things, man. Like I've always gone into the crowd. I'll do it tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. Like I go into the crowd and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun because what you're doing then is you're taking the attention off yourself.
Right.
And you're putting it on the person in the audience. And then now you're getting everybody involved.
And does that help you more with the spontaneity of sort of
my wits
on the fly?
and being quickness? Yeah, clearly it does. I mean, you have to. I mean, you got to be careful. You can go into the crowd and you might get to you might get a dude who's really funny.
Yeah, that's the nightmare, right? That's the nightmare scenario.
But I know how to pull myself right up out of that. And come out unscathed. If you can. So people always got shit wrong with them. You can look at anybody in the audience and your shoes, whatever. So
do comedians? Do you guys ever? And it's what I always because when I go, I want to be in the darkened area. I don't want to. But do you guys ever go back? Has anyone ever gone back a couple of rows to find those people that are hiding from you that don't want to be in those front tables?
I've never done that because typically when you're on stage you're blinded by those lights. I can only see to the first 2-3 rows. So you can't really see too much further than that. So I don't really go that far. Yeah. I've seen comedians come off stage.
Yeah.
But then you got to be careful. Then the stage is like, this is my area, my space.
Yeah.
You don't come up here. I'm not going out there to your space. So I've seen comedians literally go off stage and and fuck with people, and that's just too much. That's too close for comfort for me.
Yeah.
Like somebody might just people get sensitive nowadays. It's the PC thing, and somebody might just fucking clock you out of nowhere.
Right. How much do you weigh the whole PC thing? And I think that PC is it's sometimes like I think a lot of people think of PC as you can't say anything, and whereas PC is just like can't be just outright. How do you? Let me ask you. How do you describe? How do you kind of define what's PC and what's not? And where's the line for you?
The line for me, I typically don't have a line. I try not, but I try not to be so offensive that someone could, after the show, be like, "Dude, I'm gay," and you were talking about gay. So I don't talk about gay. I don't talk about politics because I think that's already divisive enough.
Right.
So I try and stay away from politics. I don't get involved in that. My political affiliation has nothing to do with yours. And I always tell the audience this at the end of the show. I'm like, listen, I made you guys laugh for an hour. You forgot about your problems and your bullshit. Mm-hmm. If I did that, I did my job. And nobody in here was racist. Nobody in here was. We all came together and laughed at the same shit. And that's what the world should be. I think everybody should come together and be as one. You got to be kind to your fellow man. That's how I see it. Yeah,
I always kind of felt like funny always plays. Like funny's the first thing. If it's funny, it's funny.
Period.
If
funny is funny.
It's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to be. I mean, I have some dick jokes that are funny, but they might be offensive to a grandmother.
Right, or someone with a small dick.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of those.
Not
things,
me,
man.
by the way. T-Robe, thanks, man.
No
I
problem.
appreciate you coming in. And he's going to get a nap. He's going to get a meal. He's going to relax a little bit.
I need that.
Yeah.
Haircut first.
Haircut. All right. Check him out. Improv this weekend. Tony T-Robe Roberson. Improv, 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow, 1 show on Sunday. This has been a very special Pittsburgh Current podcast.